Good day, everyone.
I am Apple Trainee Salan.
I am Salan Maitem.
I am Dulfo.
And we will discuss about the computation of grades. So now I will discuss the task 1. So to determine if the student gets a failing mark or not, we will total this given grades and we will divide it to 20 so we can get the mean. So we will use this guide using the norm reference 7-point scale. So the total of this is 1,681 and we will divide it to 20 equals 84.05. So the mean is 84.05. And next is get the standard deviation. So we will use this formula. And the standard deviation in this grades is 5.2. So we will, and number 3 is to determine the failing marks. So we will subtract the mean and the standard deviation. So 84.05 minus 5.2 equals 78.85. So that this 78.85 is the initial grade, and using the transmutation table, it will be transmuted into 86. So this is now the grade of the student. So it means it's not failed.
Okay, since we got the final grade of the student, which is 86, so it belongs to the very good, because we know that we have this criteria, or what is we call this classification of grades or grading system. So based on the final grades, the student got the very good grade.
So now I'm going to continue in task 1, which is using the 8-point scale. So the total number is 1,828 divided by 23 to get the 79.47. So next step is to calculate the standard deviation using this formula, whereas x is the sample mean and n minus 1 is the degree of freedom. So to get the 8 degree, we are going to subtract the total all score and the standard deviation. So the total is 1,028 minus 5.26. So we are going to get the 74.21. To use the transmutive table, the 74.21 will transmute into 84 of the student's grade.
So as you can see, guys, we have the final grade, which is 84. It belongs to a very good grade, and the difference between the first discussion and the last discussion of Miss Maitem is that the 8-point scale is what they call is fit for or appropriate for the universities and institutions. However, the first discussion of Miss Salan, sometimes it used for the high school or senior high school, or even to say for the Department of Education. So let's proceed to our next task, the task 1B, and the number 1 we'll talk about grade 7 English with the following row scores. And for the written work, we have 72 out of 90. The student got 72 out of 90, while the performance task got 86 out of 110, and for the score in quarterly test, he got 67 out of 85. So now we will get the written work. So the written work, I would like to emphasize that this part of the grading sheet or the grading system composed of 30% for the overall grading system. And as what I've said, the student got 72 out of 90. So how we'll get the what do you call this percentage score? So we just divide the 72, which will be the score of the student, divided by 90 overall items, and we just times or multiply it to 100. So we got the number of 80 for percentage score. And for the next, we have this WS. And how we get this? We just multiply the 80 from the percentage score to the point 30, so that we can get the 24 for the WS. And for the performance task, it composed of 50% for the overall what do you call this grading system. Okay, so the student for the performance task, out of 110, he or she got 86, no? And then how can we get the PS or percentage score? We just apply with what we have been applied here in the first for the written work. We just divide the 86 over 110 and multiply or times 100, and then we got the percentage score 78.18. And for the WS, we just multiply the PS, the 78.18 to 0.50. So we got the weighted score of 39.9. And let's move on to the quarterly assessment. So again, we just apply what we have been applied for written work and performance tasks. The student got 67 for the quarterly assessment out of 85. So we just divided and times into multiplied into 100. So we got the come up of the PS or percentage score of 78.82. And to get the weighted score, we just times or multiply the 78.82 times 20% for the quarterly assessment. For the information of everyone, the allocated percentage for the quarterly assessment got 20%. So that's why we just multiply 78.82 to 20. So we got 15.76. So how can we get the initial grade? We just add the weighted score from written work, performance task, quarterly assessment, 24, 39.09, and 15.76. So that's why we come up with the score or the initial grade of 79. To get the quarterly grade, we just use the transmutation table so that we can get the quarterly grade, and 79 will be transmuted into 86. So the quarterly assessment or the quarterly grade of the student will be 86. And based on the classification of grades, 86 is part of a very good grade. Next, we will proceed to the task 1B, number 2. We'll talk about grade 10 student in mathematics with the following row score. So we will get the grade of the students in the mathematics. So first, we will have the written work. We'll have 40% from the overall grading system, and same, we will divide 34 the score that the student got, and then the overall item. So let's just divide it 34 divided by 55 and times or multiplied 100, so we will get 61.81. So to get the weighted score, we just multiplied again 61.82 times 0.40. So we just get the the percentage of written work times for the percentage score. So we get 24.72, which will be our weighted score. Now for the performance task, composed of 40%, again, from the overall grading system. So student got 40 out of 80, so we just divided and then times into 100, so we got 50 for our percentage score. And to get our weighted score, we just multiply 50 to what we call this 0.40 for our performance task. So we just get the 20 for our weighted less for performance task. Now for the quarterly assessment, it composed of 20%. 20%. So the student during the quarterly assessment, they got or she or he got 38 out of 50. So we just divided times 100%, 100. So we got 76 as our percentage score. Now for the weighted score, same what we have been applied for the performance task and written work. We just multiply our percentage score 76 to 20 0.20. So we got our weighted score of 15.2. Now for our initial grade, we just add our weighted score from written work up to our quarterly assessment. So 24.72, 20, 15.2, so we got 59.92 as. So our initial grade is 59.92, so we just use our transmutation table so that we can get our quarterly grade, a transmuted grade of 74. And for me, 74 it needs for improvement for as a student to get the passing grade, because we know that 74 is a passing grade, but however, it needs for improvement.
That's the task 2. So we will get the percentage score and the weighted score of the grade of Maris and Arlene Kalikunan. So to get the percentage score, we will total all the row scores. So 18 plus 10 plus 19 plus 20 plus 22 plus 25 plus 30 equals 144. So 144 divided by 190 times 100%. So the percentage score is 75.79. So this is the percentage score. And to get the weighted score, we will multiply the 75.79 to 0.30. So we'll have 22.7.
So let's move on to our performance test. So we just add our score from 1 to 4. So 16, 24 plus 24 plus 28. So we will have 92. So next, to get the PS, so to get the PS, we just divide 110 divided by 92, so we will have 0.83. So 0.83 times the highest percentage score of 100, so we will have 83.63. So we will have the 83.63 as our percentage score. Now to get our weighted score, we just multiply the 83.63 to 50. So we will have 41.815. So we just round off, so it will be 41.82. For our quarterly assessment, we just divide the highest score of 50 to 30. So we will have 0.6. Just imagine that we have score 0.6. Now, to get the percentage score for the quarterly assessment, we just multiply 0.6 to 100, so we will have 60. Okay, and to get the weighted score for a quarterly assessment, we just multiplied the percentage score of 60 to the highest score of weighted score here, which is 20. So 60 times 20, so we will have 12 for our weighted score for quarterly assessment.
So, to compute the final rating of Miss Maurice, we will add all the weighted score from written work, performance tasks, and quarterly assessment. So 22.7 plus 41.82 plus 12 equals
7.
Padayon? Equals 77. So the grades of Maurice for the second, third, and fourth quarter are 87, 88, and 90. So we will add 77 plus 80, 87 plus 88 plus 90 equals 342, and we will divide it to 4 since it's from first quarter to fourth quarter, so the answer is 85.5, and we will round off, so it will become 86. So the final rating of Miss Maurice is 86, and its descriptive rating is pass.
Okay, so now we're going to use the grade of Miss Maurice to Miss Judy's grade. So to get the grade for Miss Maurice, we are going to add the weighted score, which is 22.7, from performance task is 41.82, and the quarterly assessment is 12. So from the weighted score, we're going to add this and come up into 77. So the grade of Miss Judy in Alaric Panlipunan is 77, and it is a pass remark. Okay, now so we are going to get the general average for Miss Judy. So to get the general average, we are going to add all the final grade from Filipino until the edukasyon, pangtahanan at pangkabuhayan. So 89 plus 89 plus 82 plus 87 plus 77 plus 91 plus 85 plus 74
Go.
equals 674. So 674 will be divided into 8 subjects. So the 8 subject will come up into 84 for his final grade. So 84 is a pass for her remarks. But Miss Judy had a failed grade from one subject, so she needs to retake the subject or have a summer class in given schedule. So now we're gonna go on to task 3. So let's start with the written. So WW means the written work. We're gonna look it here. And the next is the PT, the performance task. Here. And then next is the percentage score, which is PS. And the QA is the quarterly assessment.
So now I will discuss on how to get the initial grade of the Filipino subject. So the percentage score of the written word is 85, and the weight of component is 30%. So to get the weighted score of written word, we will divide 85 to the highest possible score, which is 100. So 85 divide 100 times 30, because 30 is the weight of the component of the written word. So the answer is 25 25.5. And so this is the weighted score of written work. Now we will move on to the performance task. So the percentage score of the performance task in Filipino is 81. And the weight of component is 50%. So to get the weighted score, we will divide again the 81 divide 100, and we will multiply it to the weight of the component, which is 50. So total is 40.5, and this is the weighted score of the performance task. And now to the quarterly assessment. The percentage score is 75 and the weight of component is 20%. And to get the weighted score, we will again divide the 75 divided by 100 times the weight of component, which is 20%, equals 15. And to get the initial grade of Filipino, we will add all the weighted score in the written work, performance task, and quarterly assessment. So 25.5 plus 40.5 plus 15, we will have 81. So now we have the initial grade in Filipino, 81. And using the transmutation table, 81 will be transmitted to 88. So the quarterly grade of in Filipino is 88. And next is English. So the percentage score of written works in English is 82, and the weight of component is 30%. And to get the weighted score, we will divide again 82 divide to 100 times the weight of component 30. So we will have 24.6. So that's the weighted score of written work, the 24.6. And in performance task, the percentage score is 77, and the weight of component is 50%. So again, we will divide the 77 divided by 100 times the weight of component, which is 50%. So we will have 38.5. So in quarterly assessment, we have the percentage score, which is 75, and the weight of component is 20%. And again, we will divide 75 divide 100 times the weight of component, which is 20, so we will have 15. And to get the initial grade of English, we will add the weighted score in the written work, performance task, and quarterly assessment. So 24.6 plus 38.5 plus 15 equals 78. So the initial grade in English is 78, and it will be transmitted to 86. So that is the quarterly grade in English. So now we will proceed to mathematics. The percentage score of math in written work is 71, and the weight of component is 40%. So we will get the weighted score, which is 71 divided by 100 times the weight of component, which is 40%. So the answer is 28.4. 28.4 is the weighted score of written work. And in performance task, the percentage score is 67. And the weight of component is 40%. So, 67 divided by 100 times the weight of component, which is 40%, the answer is 26.8. And the 26.8 is the weighted score of performance task. And in quarterly assessment, the percentage score is 62. And the weight of component is 20%. So, to get the weighted score of quarterly assessment, 62 divided by 100 times the weight of component, which is 20%, so the answer is 12.4. And to get the initial grade, we will add the weighted score, which are the 28.4 plus 26.8 plus 12.4. So the initial grade is 68. And 68 will be transmuted, so it will become 80. So that's the quarterly grade in mathematics.
So next is the science. So the percentage score for written work is 76. So the weight component is 40%. Same process for the computation with Ms. Salan. So we're gonna divide 76 into 100 and multiply into 40. So the answer is 30.4. For the percentage score for performance task is 79 and the weight component is 40. 79 divided by into 100 times 40 equals 31.6. For the quarterly assessment, the percentage score is 65 and the weight component is 20%. So 65 divided by 100 times 20 equals 13. To get the initial grade, we're going to add the percentage score for written work, performance, task, and quarterly assessment. So we have the initial grade of 75. For the quarterly grade, we are going to transmute the initial grade into 84 for students' quarterly grade. So next subject is the Araling Panlipunan or the AP. So for the students' written work, he or she got 83 and the percentage score is, the weight component is 30%. Same process, which is 83 divided by 100 multiplied by 30 and we got 24.9. For the performance task, we have 83 and the weight component is 50%. So 83 divided by 100 multiplied by 50 equals 41.5. For the quarterly assessment is 83 and for the weight component is 20%. So 83 divided by 100 multiplied by 20 equals 16.6. To get the initial grade, we're going to add the percentage score, which is 24.9 from written work, 41.5 from performance task, and for the quarterly assessment is 16.6. So the initial grade is 83. Using the transmission table, the quarterly grade for the students is 89. So next subject is edukasyon sa pagkatao. So the written work is 84 and the weight component is 30%. Same process, 84 divided by 100 multiplied by 30 equals 25.2. And for the performance task, the students got 84 and the percentage weight component is 50%. So let's move on to quarterly assessment. The percentage score is 84 and the weight component is 20%. Same process, 84 divided by 100 multiplied by 20 equals to 16.8. So to get the initial grade, we're going to add the percentage score, which are 25.2 plus 42 plus 16.8 equals to 84 for the student's initial grade. And for the quarterly grade, we're going to transmute 84 to 90. So the quarterly grade for students in quarterly grade is 90.
Now for our EPP, so we have our written work of 80, so we just divided 80 divided by 100, so we will have times 20% for the weight component, which is 20%, so we will have 16. Now let's move on to our percentage score. Yeah, we have 84, so we just divide 84 divided by 100, so we come up with 50.4 as we times or multiply it to 60%. So then for our quarterly assessment, 77 divided by 100 times 20% for our weighted component. So we come up with 15.4. Now to get the initial grade, we just add the weighted score from the written work to quarterly assessment. So 16, we have 16 plus 50.4 and plus 15.4. So we have the 81.8. So we just round it off, so it will be 82. Now for the quarterly grade, so let's just use the transmutation table so that we can transmute the 82, which is our initial grade, to have or to come up with our quarterly grade of 89. So for the MAPE, so we know that there are 4 branches of MAPE: the music, arts, physical education, and health. So we have the we have the score or the grades given from the 4 branches of MAPE. So we need to get the percentage score for the written work, performance task, and quarterly assessment. So now to get the percentage score of MAPE, so we just add the 4: the music, arts, physical education, and health. So 76 plus 85 plus 80 plus 85. So we just divide it into 4, so we come up with 82. So that's it for our percentage score. Now for our weighted score, we just divide the percentage score with our weighted component of 20%. So we have our 20% from the weighted component. So we just divide the 82 over 100. So we come up with times 20%. So we have 16.4. Now for our performance task, we just again add the 4 parts of the MAPE, and 77 plus 81 plus 80 plus 81. So that's just divided into 4. So we got 80 of score or number. And then Yeah. So to get the weighted score, we just divide the percentage score of 80 divided by 100 times the weighted component of the performance task of MAPI of 60%. So we have 48 for our weighted score for the performance task of mapping. So let's proceed to our quarterly assessment. So we have here the four again. We just add them. So 75 plus 80 plus 78 plus 75. So it come up with 77. Again, and to get the weighted score, we just divide 77 divided by 100 times the weighted component of the quarterly assessment of MAPE, which is 20%. And then we come up with our weighted score of 15.4. Now, to get the initial grade, we just add our weighted score. So from written work up to quarterly assessment. So 16.4 plus 18 plus 15.4. So we come up with 79.8. However, we need to round it off. So we have this 80 for our initial grade. And to get our quarterly grade, we just use the transmutation grade table rather. So 88 will be transmuted, 80 rather will be transmuted into 88 for our quarterly grade. So that's it.
To get the general average of students' grade, we're going to compute the quarterly grade from the student's grade from the subject of Filipino until to the subject of MAPE. So now we're going to add the quarterly grade from Filipino until the MAPE. So 88 plus 86 plus 80 plus 84 plus 89 plus 90 plus 89 plus 88 is equals to 694. So 694 will be divided into 8 subjects. So we have the general average of 86.75 and then we will round it off to the whole number. So the general average of the students is 87. So from the Rico's grade in MAPE, we come up into computing the written work, which is 16.4 from the performance task is 80, and the quarterly assessment is 77, where he got the initial grade of 80 and transmuted it into a quarterly grade of 88. So Rico's performance in MAPE is very good because he has skills in MAPE.
So based on the initial grade and the quarterly grade of Rico in all the subjects, we can see that Rico performed best in the subject EP or Edukasyon sa Pagpapakatao because he got 84 and his quarterly grade is 90. And number 3, Rico needs to improve his skill in the subject of mathematics because his initial grade is 68, and so he needs to improve his grade in mathematics, and he needs to study on this subject to improve his grade.
Now for number 4, for Aralong Palipunan, Rico's grade, as you can see, it is 3, meaning to say it signifies the consistency of the grade. And for me, though it needs for improvement, another improvement for him to be part of top student on his class. So for me, Rico's grade in Aral Tulipunan signify of being or having a consistent grade of 83, which come up with a quarterly grade of 89. And for the question number 5, so in the overall performance of Rico during the third quarter, so you can see the grades are very, except of for the mathematics, because it has, or he got 80% or 80 grade for the mathematics, so it needs for improvement. But however, for the overall, so the performance of Rico's grade is very good. And when I communicate with his parent, so I will tell, or tell the parent of Rico that Rico has a good performance in terms of academic aspect. And for me, he had a potential to be what we call this, a contributor to the school or to the classmate, or especially to the classroom.
I recognize that being careful and accurate in recording and computing grades is essential to ensure fairness and equity. Each student deserves to be evaluated objectively based on their performance. Any error or bias in grading could unfairly impact a student's confidence and academic journey. My role as an educator includes maintaining this fairness so that all students feel valued and encouraged to grow.
For teacher, responsibility in accurately recording and computing grades cannot be overstated. Grades are not just a number, they represent the student's progress, efforts, and mastery of knowledge and skills, reflecting the importance of teachers' responsibility with fairness and integrity, building trust, impact towards students, promoting accountability, avoiding mistakes and conflict from parents and students, ethical responsibility, and it is essential for part of teacher fostering the supportive learning environment, maintaining trust, and promoting the growth of success of all students.
Computing grades plays a vital role as a future educator, because this way we can evaluate the performance and progress of the student. And by computing grades, we must have these values, what we call this integrity and professionalism. And by doing that, we could able to have this what we call transparency. Transparency that needs to have inclusivity when it comes on the grading system. And by doing that, it is an opportunity for us to have this responsibility that we can compute the grades with fairness and honesty. That's all. Thank you.